Welcome to Rise and Shine Daily Business Tech Boost with me, Charly Leetham. If you're a small business owner looking to simplify technology and get real, actionable advice from someone with 35 years of IT experience, you're in the right place. Every episode, I'll dive into tools and systems like email, CRM, marketing and tracking, and break them down into bite-sized tips you can use right away. Your time is valuable, so let's get straight to the point. It's time to work smarter, not harder. Rise and shine. It's your daily dose of business tech inspiration with me, Charly Leetham. Episode number 504, and today is a cautionary tale. And no, it's not even anecdotal. It is something that actually occurred across the weekend. I was called in to help out with something, and I am reminded yet again of the importance of backups and the importance of having a belt and braces approach for your backups. And I learned something new, which is always interesting. Anyway, let's get on and have a chat about it. Had a phone call from a customer, or I had a contact, not a phone call. We don't do phone calls all that often. I do take phone calls. I just didn't take this one. It wasn't a phone call. Sorry, I'm rabbiting. I had a contact from a client saying, listen, we seem to have lost a whole heap of leads in our system. We changed over our system a couple of weeks ago and they've not been going into our CRM. We've got these emails that we've been getting saying that the leads are coming in. They're just not in our CRM. And when we've logged into the back of our website today, they're missing. So without going into the whys and wherefores of it, I got into their website. Those leads definitely aren't in there. I'm looking at the emails they've got saying that these leads have come in, looking at the ID numbers for the entries that they were using gravity forms, looking at the ID numbers saying that they were supposed to be there. They weren't there. This isn't a website I maintain. This is one that I've been called in to do some support work on this weekend. Well, that's very interesting. So I go to restore a backup, and the most recent backup that they've got shows that, and unfortunately, just so you guys understand, I can put it into perspective, I didn't restore it to their site. What I did was I downloaded the backup, I created a development site on my web server, I imported their site, and then I got in and had a look at the database. So yes, I could have just inspected the database just by importing it and having a look at it. What I wanted to do is have a look at what the whole system was telling me, not just the database, but I wanted to look at what the whole system was telling me. So I imported this database, this website, migrated it across, imported the backup site. No, they're not there. That's a couple of days ago that backup wasn't. That's interesting because I can see the numbers in the system. I can see the emails. I went and checked. No, there were no development sites on the server because that's always a possibility, is that there's a duplicate site that's been generating them. Had that happened before? Nope, that's not it. Well, maybe the database crashed and it's truncated just this table because there was nothing else affected. And SQL databases do crash and they do recover quite well. Occasionally you have a bit of data truncation or data loss. Well, maybe that was it. Okay. I really don't know. I've got no other audit trails available to me. I just have to say at this point that those records are missing in the most current database. I wonder if I can go back a couple of versions of that backup and find them. Long story short, I had to go to the actual server backup to get that database backup. Now, fortunately, they were running server backups as well. So they had the website backups running. They also had the server backups running. Fortunately, the backups were running on the server and I managed to go back a couple of weeks, find one, import it, and I found 98% of the missing records. There was a day that we'd lost in data because that's where the glitch occurred. I don't know what the glitch was. I'm not going to even attempt to try and understand it. Explain it. It might have been just a glitch in the database, as I said. Okay. Now, if I hadn't had that two-prong approach with the databases, I wouldn't have been able to track it through. I wouldn't have been able to say, look, this looks strange here, and find where the errors were. I managed to find the errors. I managed to export all of the contacts that they'd had off of this old database up until the point where we can see it had failed. It's a couple of days old. We can see, like, I've got this one here where they've got all these records, and then this one here where all these records are missing. So I managed to get all of those records from when they last had contact to this one. We've exported them. They'll be putting them manually into their CRM. I then went through and connected up all of their forms and made sure all of their forms were actually connected to their CRM. The next thing I found, because it was really interesting to me, when I went to use the website backups, I downloaded what I thought was a backup for the site. It's a couple of days old. I thought, oh yeah, that one looks good. And I downloaded it. Sorry, let me just put this into perspective again. The backups on that website are taken locally and then they are transferred up into a Google Drive folder and held offsite. Perfectly legitimate behavior. In fact, it's something I recommend is don't store your backups locally. Make sure you're moving them off somewhere so that if the worst happens and your website fails or your hosting provider disappears or something goes wrong, you've actually got access to those backups in another location that you can go and get them and go and restore your site, just like I was doing, trying to find out where this error was. So I downloaded a version of the backup for this site. And when I restored it, I thought, that's not this site. This is someone else's site. So I went and had a look at that. Now, the way this backup system is working, it's backing up to what looks to be a common Google Drive. It may be an error. It may be an oversight. The point is that I could access someone else's data from my client's website. I couldn't see it easily. I had to download it and reinstall it, like re-import it, but I could do that. And it's not just one client that was in there. There's a couple of clients in there. Now, this isn't my client's issue. This is something that was set up for them by another provider who went, yeah, we'll just use my Google Drive. And I don't know if it's oversight. I don't know if it was a mistake. I really don't know. I don't know if they've accidentally dropped backups into those folders by mistake, because that could happen as well. But it's something that you need to be looking at as business owners, is how secure is your data? How private is your data? If someone's come in to set up a backup system for you and they say, yeah, look, we've got this replicating up into a Google Drive, or we've got this replicating offsite, is the location where the backups are replicating to private to you, secure to you only? Can someone else, via the systems that are in place, get in, download a copy of it, and reinstall your website? Doesn't happen often. I don't want, and I'm not pointing fingers here. It could have just been an absolute oversight on what was going on, but it did raise to me the concern as a business owner. Do you know how private your data is? So there's two lessons that we learn from my escapades this weekend. And yes, I've worked all weekend fixing this up for them. Having multiple approaches for backup is a good thing, because if one doesn't quite give you the results you're looking for, maybe the other one does. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but because they use different methods and they're stored in different locations, sometimes it just gives you that extra layer of support and fallback that you might need. So belts and braces approach. Not only rely on your server backups, also have your own backups for your website. Don't just rely on the backups for your website. See if your web server is being backed up. Have alternate methods of backup in place. It might, and this again, this is where you need to start a sentence and I never finish it. This is where you need to trade off the cost. This is where you need to do your cost benefit analysis. That's what I'm trying to say, your cost benefit analysis. You can spend a fortune on backup that you will never use. The question that you have to ask yourself is, if you have to use it, how much is it going to save you? And is it worth spending this sort of money to do it? Now, if you want to talk about backup solutions, by all means, get in touch with me. leave comments here on my videos. Those ones are going to be more difficult to answer because I'll need to understand more about your own situations. You can come across to the locals community, askcharlyleetham.locals.com, ask questions there and I will answer them and ask you more questions in return, or you can book a free consult and have a chat to me as well, and we'll see what we can do. Okay, so we need a belts and braces approach with backup. That certainly helped us out this weekend. The last thing that we need to make sure of is we need to understand how private our data is once it's being replicated off-site. It is worthwhile just going and checking and asking your support people where your backup files are located, where are they replicated to, how private is that, how easy is it for you to get access to it, and not easy for anyone else to get access to it. All right, guys, it was a long weekend. It was a really interesting problem. I love working on problems like this. Would be good if it wasn't on a weekend, but hey, this is what we do, isn't it? And it's what I do to support my clients. If you have any questions, comments, feedback, please leave them wherever you're watching this video, watching or listening to this video, actually. Come across to Locals, askcharlyleetham.locals.com, join the conversation there. If this video has been helpful to you, please give it a like, and if you haven't already, please do subscribe to the channel and ring the notification bell. I will see you guys all tomorrow. Bye. Hey there, thanks so much for tuning in to Rise and Shine, your daily business tech boost. I hope today's episode gave you some actionable insights that will make your business tech work smarter for you. If you found value, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with other small business owners who could use a daily boost. For more tips, tools, and resources, visit www.askcharlyleetham.com. Until next time, keep rising, keep shining, and let's make tech simple together.